let's talk about the park airspace closure, because the closure came in on the 24th of April. That's well ahead of Operation Sindoor. Now, from an operational perspective, you said you cannot carry a full payload at this point in time. Take me through what that's actually meant in terms of operations, flight cancellations, rerouting. What has all of that meant for Air India?
Well, so domestically, a number of airports were closed.
Yes.
13 cities that Air India group operated to, we had to cease operations. Unfortunately, that affected some 70-odd thousand people, nearly 1,000 flights. And we assisted people very quickly to get to their destinations as best we could. That was something completely beyond our control. On the international side, once the airspace was closed, we needed to take a different route. And that meant longer flying times to Europe and to North America. And in some cases for North America, it meant having to make an en route refueling stop in order to reach the destination. That was... We adjusted to that very quickly. I think we managed to minimize the disruption to customers quite well. And then very quickly we looked at how do we optimize the operation so that we can continue to operate the connectivity and the customer proposition that people have selected us for. So most of our flights now have been reinstated to non-stop. Sometimes. And
how you managed to do that?
So that's sometimes with a reduction in the payload that we carry, whether it's the amount of cargo we carry or a reduction in the number of seats that we fill.
So how many seats have you had to drop, as well as what's the decline as far as carrying of cargo is concerned?
So it's very route specific, and it even depends on the wind and weather conditions on a particular day.
But typically to North America?
So on some routes, it's zero. On some routes, as much as 20 or 30 seats. But
20 or 30 seats?
Yes, so it is significant, but the point is that we've been able to sustain non-stop service, which is the key reason that people are flying us, the key competitive proposition. On a couple of routes, we are taking an en route refueling stop. That's typically a very short refueling stop of 45 to 60 minutes, certainly much shorter than it would typically be if you got off an aircraft, did a transit experience and got on another one. So I think the elapsed time remains very, very competitive, but it's just not quite as convenient as it was before. So therefore a little bit frustrating for the consumer, clearly a little bit frustrating for us, and obviously it adds cost to the operation.
I'll get to the cost part in just a second, but have you had to cancel any flights? Are you re-looking at some of the destinations that you're flying to on account of the closure?
No, so we haven't cancelled any flights thus far. Depending on how things go and the extent to which wind conditions mean that flights become more difficult to viably operate, we may take a few tactical cuts here and there, but the intention is to maintain the operation as robustly as we can.
So let's talk about costs now, because it's been widely reported that if the airspace closure were to extend for a year, it could cost Air India upwards of 5,000 crore rupees, or approximately 5,000 crore rupees. And that's the estimate that has been given to the government in the many meetings that have taken place with the government on this issue so far. Is that accurate?
Yes, we were asked to give a ballpark cost of what this would be for us, and so we provided a number.
So it is approximately 5,000 crores, upwards of 5,000 crores?
It's approximately. Now we're obviously working to reduce the impact by whatever means we can. But yes, that's a ballpark figure.
If it were to continue for a year. In the previous instance, when we did see the park airspace closure, and that was about a period of about 3 months or so, what was the impact then? What kind of a hit did you take then?
That was before my time, so I don't have those numbers off the top of my head.
Sure.
But yes, I mean, it's a significant cost.
So what is the way forward now? We don't know how long the airspace closure will last. Where do conversations with the government lie? Again, widely reported that there was talk around a possible bailout package, some sort of a subsidy, some kind of government support and intervention. Are any of those things moving forward?
No, I think, just to be clear, we were asked to provide a ballpark cost of what the impact would be. We have had a number of discussions with government on how we might mitigate those costs and make travel more convenient for people, whether it be fuel taxes or other things that we can do that provide some mitigation. But we're not in any active negotiations or discussions with anyone. Obviously, the government is going to take the positions they'll take from a geopolitical perspective, and we'll adjust accordingly.
So what kind of support would you then be hopeful of in a scenario like this?
We're a business that needs to operate. We try and operate on our own 2 feet. We're adjusting our operations to be as viable as we can, notwithstanding challenging circumstances, and we'll continue to do that.
Hey, thank you for watching this on CNBC TV18. Hope you liked it. For more such interesting news and updates, follow CNBC TV18 on all the social media platforms.